Tonight's tale's about a girl called Ilara, who lived in a village perched on the edge of a vast, ancient forest, its trees dark and dense, stretching beyond the horizon. The villagers spoke in hushed tones of its dangers, telling stories of children who vanished, of shadows that moved with minds of their own, of a hunger that never slept. Long ago, the first villagers had made a pact with a being they called the Hollow One. It demanded offerings, chosen children whose absence would feed the forest and keep the village alive. None could resist it, none could defy it, and none dared venture too deep into the trees. Ilara's brother, Nelo, was 10 and fearless. He climbed the tallest trees, ran faster than the wind, and the forest had always called to him more strongly than the village ever did. One evening, the wind shifted, carrying cold, sharp whispers that made the hair on Ilara's neck rise. Nelo followed the sound, laughing, into the shadows. She called after him, her voice swallowed by the gathering darkness. By the time she realized he had vanished, the sun had dipped behind the horizon and the forest had claimed him. She returned to the village at dawn, mud-streaked and crying, screaming his name until her throat burned. The elders gathered, their faces solemn. Father Marius, a man of reason who tolerated superstition only enough to keep the villagers calm, told her it was not her fault. The old women muttered differently. The pact had claimed Nelo. One of the chosen had been taken, and she had seen it happen. Days bled into nights. The village clung to fragile routines, but Ilara could not. Every sound, every shadow, every crack of a branch whispered her loss. She wandered the forest's edge, whispering Nelo's name, pleading for him to come back. The trees shifted subtly, as if listening, as if responding, but never revealing what lay within their roots. Then the dreams began, or perhaps they were not dreams at all. She awoke shaking, drenched in sweat, the forest speaking in whispers sharper than any human tongue. Nelo was alive, but bound, trapped. She could feel his heartbeat, faint and slow, echoing through the roots. The Hollow One had noticed. It whispered that she could trade places, offer herself for his freedom. But the cost would be her life, her memory, her very humanity. Ilara did not hesitate. At dawn, she returned to the forest, carrying a knife and a water skin, stripped of all illusions of safety. She called his name until her voice broke. The forest responded, falling silent, pressing down like a living weight. Then she saw him half hidden in shadow at the base of a gnarled tree. His skin was gray, eyes wide and hollow, roots burrowing into his legs like black parasites. "Ilara," he whispered, voice empty. She dropped to her knees, clawing at the roots, slicing until her palms bled. They did not loosen. She shook her head. "I'll free you. I promise. I'll take you home." He gasped, weak and shaking. "It won't let me go." As if answering, the air shifted, shadows thickened, curling into shapes that were not shapes. A low, hungry sound rose, filling the clearing. The Hollow One had awakened. "You should not have come," it said, not a single voice, but many, layered and echoing through the roots. "He is my brother," Ilara said, standing despite trembling limbs. "You cannot have him." The shadows laughed, snapping like breaking branches, growling like beasts in empty bellies. The pact was made. The chosen belonged to me. "He is a child," she spat. "He belongs to no one." "Do you think the sea gives its fish freely? Do you think the soil grows from kindness? All has a price. Your people knew this. Your king knew this. You live because others are given. Ilara gritted her teeth. Then take me instead. The shadows twisted, curious. You would give yourself? If it frees him, she said. The roots surged, climbing her legs, burrowing into her flesh. Pain flared sharp and unending, but she did not cry out. She forced her eyes to meet Nelo's, smiling through the agony. The Hollow One's laughter filled her chest. And then, as though invisible chains snapped, Nelo staggered free. Color returned to his face. He cried her name, reaching, but she was already half swallowed by the earth. Ilara! He screamed, clawing at the roots, but they held her fast. The Hollow One spoke through her, hunger in every vibration. Struggle, little vessel. It makes the taste sweeter. Ilara realized the truth. It had never needed willing sacrifices. It fed on despair, on love torn apart, on families broken. Her village had survived only by feeding its hunger, generation after generation. Rage flared in her chest. She reached into the other voices tangled in the roots, long-forgotten children and parents alike. One by one they stirred, listening. Together they swelled, a chorus of pain and anger that slammed against the Hollow One. The forest shook. Branches cracked, stones split. Its roar shifted from laughter to fury. Outside, the village felt it. Waves crashing against cliffs, earth splitting near the square. Screams rang out as people ran for safety. The elders wept, knowing the pact was unraveling. Nelo, still weak, approached the forest's edge at night. He left candles, trinkets, offerings beneath the roots, calling her name each time. Sometimes she stirred. Sometimes she did not. But he never stopped returning. The villagers, desperate, decided the pact must be renewed. At dawn, they would bind Nelo and return him to the forest. None dared question the plan, though fear sharpened their hands. Ilara heard them through the roots. Panic clawed at her, but she gathered every shred of herself and the chorus of trapped voices. They would not take him. She would fight. At dawn, the villagers dragged Nelo to the forest's edge, wrists bound, face pale but defiant. He shouted warnings, but they struck him silent. The Hollow One stirred, shadows thickening, hunger roaring. Ilara surged forward, no longer fully human, a blend of root, bark, and shadow, anchored between the boy and the hunger. She reached for Nelo. Run, she whispered, leaves rustling, branches cracking to form her voice. Run, do not return. Nelo obeyed, stumbling through the roots toward the sea. Villagers scattered, screaming. Only the elders remained, frozen in awe and dread. The Hollow One struck at her, lashing shadows, piercing pain. But she held. For the first time, it faltered. But hunger cannot be destroyed, only delayed. You cannot win, vessel, it whispered, softer now, almost gentle. You will wither in my roots, as they all have. Your brother will return, whether in grief or blood. That is the way of all things. Ilara closed her eyes. She had saved him, yet the cycle remained unbroken. She would wait, always. She would resist it, fight it, starve it, for as long as she existed in these roots. The Hollow One withdrew into shadow, but its presence lingered in every tree, every root, every darkness. Nelo returned to the village, haunted by what his sister had become. At night, he heard her voice in the rustle of leaves, in the groan of branches, whispering promises he feared he might one day forget. In the forest, Ilara waited. Not as a girl, not as a sacrifice, but as a hollowed sentinel, her love a weapon against the endless hunger. the wheel would turn again. The pact would call again. The forest would never forget. Neither would she. If you survive this story, leave a like, so I know you're still here. Subscribe and share this, so others know what waits in the dark.